Hello everyone and welcome back to another DrAce video. Today I want to talk to you guys about engine brake. I have been finding an engine brake that works best for me, and that is usually engine brake 3. But in today's video I want to talk to you about which engine brake will work best for you and your style. I think reducing the engine brake is actually making a big difference in MotoGP 24, especially compared to last year's game. I could pretty much use either 3 or 4 and I felt absolutely fine. So what I'm going to do is pretty much the same as I do on any particular test, and what I would recommend for you guys as well is to start out practicing with what you're used to and accustomed to using. So for me, traction control 2, anti-wheelie 3 and engine brake on 3 as well seem to be a good balance for my particular riding style. So what I am going to do is I'm going to do a couple of laps with engine brake 3, change it across. I'll probably change it to 5 so you can see the difference quite dramatically, and then I'll reduce it down to 2 and even engine brake 1. But what I want you to notice and what I want you to understand is it's more or less from feeling. You will see some visual differences with different engine braking, but more or less it's that feeling of, is the bike going to stop? Is the bike stopping too quickly? And is the rear tyre coming round when it really shouldn't? I noticed that quite a lot with the higher engine brake. From 4 and 5, I noticed that the rear brake tends to kick out quite a lot, where engine brake 3 has that balance of being able to slow the motorcycle down, but at the same time gives you that feeling to still be able to maneuver the bike when and where you want to be. So across the line, that's our first lap time with engine brake 3. Let's do another one, and let's see what lap times we can produce as we try and get round the outside of Fabio Di Gianantonio, picking me straight back up into the right-hander there. So not ideal to do it in a testing situation with other rides on track, but since I've done all the others this way, I guess it makes sense and it should be fine for this video here today. Now already the difference being that we didn't make that mistake into the Rio corner like we did on the previous lap, so we are going to be improving. But more than the lap times itself, it's how the bike feels. And I can tell you, going into some of the hardest braking zones like La Quercia here for turn 8, the bike feels really solid. It looks smooth to ride as well. The RSGP seems to go into those corners and just gradually come to a stop naturally without the rear tyre bouncing out of control. The front wheel is not taking all the pressure and the rear tyre's lifting up. It looks very calm. We'll see what the difference will be when we change in a moment, but definitely remember how it looks right now, because visually you will be able to see a difference. But as I say, the feeling is much more important. So if you actually don't mind the visuality of seeing the rider's rear tyre skip and slide, you might feel comfortable with that. I personally do not, and I require more feeling and control and a bit more loose rather than a stagnant motorcycle that wants to seem to do things by itself with the way the assistance works in this game. So across the line then, now it's engine brake 5 time. So from 3 to 5, already this feels strange. It didn't feel too comfortable in the first corner there. It felt like something was holding me back, that it was trying to brake for me, if that makes sense. Another great spot here is in turn 4. Feels very peculiar. We're actually going a little bit quicker into turn 4, but it definitely feels a little bit strange. Would really like to see the difference driving down here towards La Quercia corner, which is turn 8 here in Misano. So let's get onto the brakes. Can we stop the bike securely? Whoa, the rear tyre. Rear tyre just kicked off for no reason whatsoever then. I braked exactly the same way as I did on the lap prior, and the rear brake just wanted to take over. That did not feel comfortable at all. Engine brake 5 for just one corner for me is absolutely no go. There's going to be another couple of tight corners coming up after the fast section of Cavone, turn 12, then to 13, then into 14 for the Caro corner. That's again another opportunity where the rear tyre might come out. So here we go, onto the brakes. Ignore the fact that I just invalidated the lap. Didn't feel too bad, to be honest. Definitely feels like something's holding me back though. Something is not allowing me to have full control over the motorcycle. Oh, it's shocking. I did downshift a little bit prematurely there, but still, the rear brake just kicked off. And I don't even think I'm using the rear brake that aggressively. It's just the bike, it feels so unstable. Braking in these straight lines is not a comfortable experience. I wholeheartedly do not recommend Engine Brake 5, and I've only had one lap on it. Getting into the Rio corner, it's definitely something holding me back. It's something that it's like an assist that is stopping me from doing what I want to do, and the bike is trying to take over to do it for me. There's something I always have noticed whenever players use joint braking, for example. It's very similar, where the player uses the front brake effectively. Look at the rear brake again. I'm using the terminology rear brake, but it's not actually. It's just that the engine brake is forcing the rear tyre just to kick out. That is not a comfortable experience. Yeah, look at the state of that. Engine brake 5 is definitely not for me. I did find engine brake 4 did something very similar. Changing to engine brake 3 seemed to have fixed all my problems, so I'm not going to bother with engine brake 4, to be quite honest. I think 4 and 5 are not going to be doing me any favours. So as far as I'm concerned, we'll drop down to 2 and we'll try engine brake 1 as well. But what I was mentioning regarding the joint brakes is I know a lot of players like that, but I can tell you this, do not use joint brakes. You'll find yourself braking quite correctly, and because the joint brakes are active, it will for some reason want to use the rear brake more than what is required. So I would advise using joint brakes if you are doing that and having some form of difficulties. So now I'll drop down to engine brake 3. I'm already been able to get into turn 1 there without any problems whatsoever. Bike felt really responsive, and I was able to manoeuvre the Trackhouse Aprilia pretty much wherever I wanted to go. Again, rear tyre is staying exactly where I want it to be. There's no hidden assist that's trying to force the rear tyre around. It just feels really comfortable. So let's get this lap time in, and then let's start comparing it to the likes of engine brake 2 and engine brake 1 as well. Still braking rather hard there for the Quercia corner, and the rear tyre just doesn't want to kick out. I'm braking exactly the same way, and I'm also using the rear brake in the exact same way as we did earlier on. And the difference is night and day. This feels significantly better, ladies and gentlemen. Much more impressed with this than I ever was with engine brake 5. I know a lot of newcomers were still using engine brake 4 or 5 and having difficulties, so I'm hoping this video will give you some inspiration to at least try changing different engine brake styles, as once again, a little bit wide there for the right-hander for turn 13. That's cost me time. I'm actually looking forward to a bit of clear track here, because I keep getting caught up with these Ducatis. And now we have a gas in the way as well. So onto the left-hand side, bring on the power. Let's get across the line to start chucking in some faster lap times with engine brake 3. Now engine brake 3 just certainly feels the engine brake style for me. Able to squeeze through a Marco Bezzecchi there without any problem whatsoever. The Aprilia feels really solid. Very happy with the experience. So I think I'll do one more lap, get the beautiful lap times in, and then exchange it for the second engine brake option. Do aim to do quite a couple of laps here with the smaller category, smaller engine brakes, just simply because I don't know whether that is the key for me as well as you. I can definitely guarantee though, engine brake 5 was just not it. Try it at your own peril, ladies and gentlemen, and alternatively, if that style works for you, it could just mean we have a different style of braking in MotoGP 24, which is absolutely fine. There's no actual definitive answer for getting quicker in these games. It's a lot of practice, time and effort to improve. And as long as you're doing that, you will find methods to improve. Of course, myself, I don't use any setups whatsoever. Still want to entertain that idea at some point, but for now, completely setup free for the purpose of every single video and guide to show you that it can be done without chasing this magical setup that someone claims to have. So, into the final corner. This is the Mazzano corner. I just messed that one up, getting too aggressive on the power and across the line. Yeah, big mistake that. So let's drop it down now to a little bit of an extreme. Let's drop it down to engine brake 1. Let's see how this feels for some of the more difficult corners here in Mazzano. One thing I probably might have to do is brake a little bit harder and potentially a little bit earlier, as Alicia Spargo has just gone down. Has that invalidated my lap? It has. Well, that's annoying, isn't it? Usually it doesn't happen so quickly, that, does it? Oh well. So this lap time will not count, but for our own testing purposes, this is the corner I want to see happens. Yeah, The bike is not helping me that time around. So with engine brake on 1, I felt no assistance from the Aprilia RSGP then. And that forced me into Acosta. Felt like I braked exactly the same point there. Yeah, this is definitely the opposite of engine brake 5. The feeling is there's no support whatsoever. There's no assistance with the braking. It's just you and the bike at its purest form. Yeah, I can't get it stopped into turn 13 either. Ooh, engine brake 1 is certainly a difference maker. It doesn't obviously suit my style for now, but I have only tried it for 1 lap, so let's not panic. But this is not going to be a great lap time. Into the final corner. Can't get it stopped there either. Definitely no assistance from engine brake 1. That is not a good experience for me so far. Onto the brakes again. Oh, little bit of a front wheel stoppy there. As we dive into the left-hand side for turn 2, just trailing behind Pedro Acosta. Could also be a case that I'm trying to catch up to the young Spaniard rather than me focusing on the engine brake, but here we go. Into turn 4, Pedro's gone deep, he has gone deep, and he's crashed out and invalidated this lap time as well. Brilliant. That's marvellous, isn't it? So a 1/10 of a second lost so far with engine brake 1. Lap times have been relatively inconsistent so far as we get really late on the brakes here. I have to use a lot more brake to get it stopped though. A lot more brake. I don't think engine brake 1's going to be for me, you know. It just feels like a lack of assistance, and now onto the brakes. I've really... Oh, I've got binned it. So, a little bit embarrassed there. I just crashed on engine brake 1. I'll be honest, I think it's quite obvious that that wasn't good for me. I did not like using engine brake 1 at all. I need that bit of assistance from engine brake 3. So, let's see what the difference is now for engine brake 2. Now I do feel that giving engine brake 1 and 5 2 laps is not really fair, so if you want to do some more testing I would recommend you do a little bit more laps than I did, but to be honest I already feel extremely confident with engine brake 3 and I don't think today I'm going to change any of my decisions, but I would like to see if a small change, reducing the engine brake to 2, will make the difference. I think changing it into dramatic increments of 2s and 3s, up to 5 and down to 1, is probably a bit too extreme. Working up slowly to that would have been a little bit more provide a bit more assistance, but I just wanted to see how different the difference was between engine brake 1 and 3 and 3 to 5. And I'm pleased to say that they make quite a big difference, and that is important because if you have such a vast amount of different styles and play styles, that it's important to have so many different alternatives and parameters for each player to be faster in their own right. So that's good. I'm happy that there's differences between each engine brake setting. Regarding traction control and anti-wheelie, if you want to see videos on those, I've already done them on the channel, so check out those at the conclusion of today's video. But with here in engine brake 2, I'm actually beginning to struggle to notice the difference. Fastest lap time there, in fact, identical to engine brake 3 earlier on. Exactly the same lap time of a 1:30.469. It's hard to say if this actually feels different at all, you know. Maybe I'm braking a little bit firmer than I was with 3, which I don't think suits my style all that much. I'm not that heavy of a braker, to be honest. I'm not really heavy with the game at all. Acceleration is quite gentle. Manoeuvring of the bike is gentle and early as well. I don't even hold the controller very tight. So I'm a bit lost to tell you if I notice that much of a difference, to be honest. As you know, you always get transparency with me on this channel, so I can't make things up. It just doesn't feel any different, to be honest. I highly recommend you check out engine brake 2 and also try engine brake 3. And if you are struggling with the rear tyre coming round, then remove yourself from engine brake 5, and engine brake 4 also does it as well. Remove that and possibly try a smaller brake disc. The one thing I will always recommend is trying the 7-inch brake disc. That helps me a lot. I do find for my style with using the rear brake mid-corner, it benefits me quite a lot, so definitely check that out as well. Possibly will look into doing a video regarding the brake discs. I think maybe we can show the differences between each brake disc, or I can show you how brake disc 1 reacts to 2, for example. We'll think of that for the future, but we did manage to improve there with engine brake 2. And to be honest, I might start considering using that second engine brake. It does feel really good. I can't say it feels better or worse than 3, but it's certainly letting me feel comfortable on the bike. And I think that is half the battle. As long as you're comfortable, you can then find time. You don't have to be on the ragged edge, you just need to be comfortable in finding time each and every time. Build that confidence up. In fact, we're just behind the 2 factory Aprilias here. Alace's doing lap times of 1:29.4 on the hardest difficulty in the game, so that's pretty good lap times actually. We seem to be losing a lot of our time around sector 3 and 4, probably just a lack of confidence turning in to the faster sectors going into Cavone all the way up to 12 and 13. Let's see if we can improve it here. A little bit early on the brakes, just lost a bit of my confidence there, especially since going wide with engine brake 1 earlier on. It's lost that feeling and sensation to get it right into turn 14. We are closing in. 0.4 of a second found, half a second found, a little bit offline for turn 15. This is still could be a good lap time though nonetheless. Into the left-hander. Fire on your ride-height device, try and avoid the wheelie. Ooh, looked like we ran off the circuit there. Cross the line. It is an improvement. It's our first 29 for me in this video here today. As engine brake 2 stole my heart. Here's the second engine brake now, the engine brake for me. I'm definitely going to have to do some more tests with this one. For the video purpose, I'm quite happy to say that I've shown you the differences between them. And I can also explain the importance of trying different things to find speed, to find confidence, and to get the feeling of the bike. I think we're doing that here today. That's really late on the brakes there. Thankfully though, because of the lower engine brake, still able to get it stopped, still had a bit of assistance to stop the motorcycle, but it didn't bring the rear tyre round. I was still very much able to be in full control of our Aprilia RSGP, and we didn't bump the rear of Maverick Vinales ahead of us. But he's in a terrible spot here because there's no way I'm going to be able to go around. Let's go around the outside. Look at that. Engine brake 2, I think, has stolen my heart. I think I'll call it there. Engine brake 2 is here to stay. Let me know in the comment section down below, guys, which ones you prefer the most. If you prefer 5, let me know why. And alternatively, if you prefer 1, let me know as well. And of course, what is most important about today's video is I hope that you have enjoyed it. If you have, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video for more MotoGP 24. Like and subscribe. Ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite set your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.